I love you, man.
Love you too, bud.
Thanks, dude. One thing so we had a podcast today that'll come out. Well, I don't know when this is going to come out versus that. It's either out or it will be coming out. I don't know. It's with Matt Madsen.
Good start.
If it's out,
Good start to this podcast episode. Nice
if
work.
it's out, go listen to it. If it's not, wait for it. It was beautiful. Dude's a ninja. Loved it. But one of the things that we were talking about is this whole idea of having a group of dudes, having your friends that you're actually comfortable with just being like, hey man, I love you, right? And one thing that caught my attention today as we got off of our mastermind call is that's typically how we got off the call, like, hey, love you guys are awesome, and the dudes say I love you and whatever. That it's just very normal, it's very natural, and it's very genuine. It's a genuine emotion that these men are feeling, and it just struck me, and I'm just curious how many of you not only intentionally surround yourself with the quality of person that you want to be around and that you want to have that type of relationship with, but no kidding, like how many relationships are you in where when you leave it, you're like, hey, love you, brother. Because I started thinking about like my phone calls and stuff, right? Like, in my interactions, and it's not every interaction, it's not every phone call, and it's not every dude that I'm hanging out with, but the ones that are tightest in my circle, like it's very common to be like, hey, I love you, brother. Talk to you soon. And it's I think it's unique. It is actually not, I don't think it's unique. It is very unique and something that brings me great, profound joy and feeds my soul.
Yeah, man. I mean, in the Bible, God tells us to love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And I don't think he's trying to be like cute with his words. Like he's literally just like, go love your neighbor. Like go love other human beings that are around you. Like that's my charge for you. Go love them. That's it. Like, and that's so hard for a lot of people to do. I don't know why, but like all these other things come into play, right?
Well, I think it's hard because, two things. One, society tells you as a man that that kind of stuff is not cool. At least that's the sense I get.
That's not
Um,
successful.
that's not successful. You gotta go get them, eat your enemies, and make money, and all that kind of stuff, right?
Get rich.
Get rich and success. Success means you have the most toys and all this other stuff that we pursue, and it's interesting because if you're honest with yourself, like that stuff, it's just a lot of times just stuff. It's really not that important. A lot of it is also very, very terminal, right? Your position, your roles, those things are going to end. And if you ask most guys, they actually want an exit from those things at some point, right? Like, well, I'm a CEO, dude. I'm looking forward to retirement, like getting rid of that thing, right? They don't say getting rid of that thing, but that's what retirement is. You're retiring from a thing. And so it's just it's curious to me that, well, so back to your point, that in and of itself, all the outside pressures, definitions, standards, um, and I think if you take a deep dive into society standards, I think you'll very quickly come to a point of great dissatisfaction. This idea of money, sex, good looks, all these things that are really not all that. They're not the end all be all. And most of those things, like your beauty and all that kind of stuff, is going to go away. When you die, your money, shockingly, you're most likely not going to take it with you. Um, Relationships are very different. And that's the other side. Internal pressures, you have to be willing to be vulnerable, to put yourself out there, to be hurt. There are all these things internally that also are very challenging to love somebody because you have no control on what their response is going to be and you're putting yourself in a position of being vulnerable and potentially being hurt. And that should not stop you, right? I mean, there's a couple ways to look at it, but one, if you're pouring into somebody and they're just like, dude, I'm just not interested in being your friend. I mean, is that really someone you want to be friends with anyways? Like, I mean, not me, but typically what happens is you identify the type of man you want to be, type of person you want to be, and you find other people like that and you surround yourself with them. It's very rare in my experience that those type of dudes you can be like, man, I'm just not really interested in being your friend. Right? Like, it just doesn't, it's kind of an unnatural thing. Like, you've done the work to get into that situation to at least be able to cultivate that type of relationship. And that level of intentionality is what is lacking. That the ability, the passion, the desire to be vulnerable is lacking. The position of power from which we come to define our own success and to really clarify in our own lives what that is, what is most important, is lacking. So you find yourself lonely, pursuing things that are terminal, and most likely just not all that happy.
Yeah, man. We just got back from our retreat, and one of the things we focused on is just redefining what success really is. And success is not your bank account. Success is not the things that you own. Success is not the identity that you put in your job or your position or your rank or anything else. It's success is relationships, right? And true joy and happiness is found in gratitude, in relationship. Practicing
And to be
that.
clear, these guys are all very successful men, right? By the standards of what success means to most people. These dudes are they're crushing it from that perspective, and still finding that they have very unmet, deep desires, passions, and needs, which a lot of which has been, which is met through these relationships. What is it? The Good Life, I think, is the book that highlights the 84-year study. At this point, it's 84 years. It's still continuing.
Yeah.
The Harvard study, and their conclusions are right. Relationship leads to the best life, and then there's been multiple studies. So this is science. This is data. Multiple studies have been run showing that gratitude is the mechanism through which you achieve your greatest level of joy and happiness. And so these things this is not touchy-feely. People have dedicated their scientific life, academic life, to studying this, and these are the conclusions they come to, which is pretty powerful stuff. So if you continue to ignore it and pursue the things that, if those are not the things you're pursuing, that's on you, right? I mean, that's if you're feeling empty and you have a lack of joy and happiness, well, the answers are all right there. They're all right there, and you can get them, and it's way easier than you think. It's right there.
So we'll leave it with a challenge. And we were challenged by our guest speaker at our retreat is to, hey, practice gratitude and actually think about someone in your life. Maybe it's someone who you haven't talked to in a while, but it's someone who has made a positive impact in your life. Maybe it was a parent or your spouse or a coach or a teacher or someone, a best friend from elementary school, and pick up the phone and call them and tell them how much you're grateful for them. Tell them what they've done for you in your life. Tell them that you love them and see how that makes you feel. And then do that weekly from now on.
Yeah, man. No, I love it. What a great challenge. And he broke it down further, said, I think it was appreciation, gratitude, apology, and impact.
Yep.
And to fill those columns up with the names that come in your mind. And then he called them Thankful Thursdays.
Thankful Thursdays.
Thankful Thursdays. And so every Thursday, this is something that I intend to do. And it doesn't have, it could be Thankful Tuesdays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday. It could be any day. But the point is to be intentional on that list. Make that list, take action, and those conversations, dude. They're gonna be a blessing, right?
Yep.
To you and to the person that you reach out to. Like, imagine yourself receiving that call. I mean, that's all you really have to imagine. That'll be an inspiration to do it.
Good stuff, brother.
Giddy up.
Love you, dude.
Love you, my man.
See
See
ya.
you.